I just got the Platinum Trophy in Deliver Us the Moon, which means it's time to sit down and give my full, spoiler-free review of the game. My name is James, and I started this channel simply because I love video games. If that sounds like you, please subscribe to my channel so that you can see more videos just like this one. Deliver Us the Moon is a first-person, story-driven adventure where you play the role of an astronaut who is investigating to see what happened in an abandoned colony on the moon. I played the game on PS5, but it is also available on Nintendo Switch, PS4, and Xbox as well. I played through the game 2 whole times in order to get the Platinum Trophy. My first playthrough of the game was 6.5 hours, and that was with me taking my time in each level to try to find different collectibles and understand the story that the game was trying to tell. My second play of the game, where I cleaned up the remaining trophies, only took around 3 or 4 hours, and overall I would say that I enjoyed my time with this game, and I'm looking forward to checking out Deliver Us Mars here in probably a couple weeks. With all of that out of the way, let's get started with the positives. The strongest part of the game for me was the general atmosphere and the mystery and the little environmental puzzles and the exploration, and how you're not really given a ton of information about what's going on in the game, but you can kind of piece some stuff together before a lot of it's just kind of outright said later on. At the beginning of the game, you're not really sure who you are, how you're related to what is going on the moon, what you could possibly do to help, why you're the right person for this job, and then all of that and a lot more is answered while you're playing the game. Another thing that I really enjoyed was the way the story is delivered to you. Typical for games of this style, most of the story was delivered through the environment, but they also include different kinds of audio logs and holographic projections so you can kind of see interactions between different characters, and then also different documents that are scattered around the game. Out of those, I found the environmental storytelling to be pretty powerful, because you would go into like an office or something and then watch a little cutscene or watch a holographic projection of two characters interacting where it seems like everything is kind of in order and they're making a game plan and they're working as a team and all this stuff. But then the projection will end and you'll look around the room and you realize that like this area has been completely destroyed. So something went wrong and something happened. Something really significant happened since that recording. And being able to piece that stuff together and uncover the mystery of what happened on the moon was one of the highlights of the game for me. Another thing that I enjoyed was the way that the story is delivered to you. There's really 3 main threads to the story. There's the story of what happened to the colony of people that like live on the moon. And then there was an astronaut before you who went to kind of help and see what was happening. And then there's you. And I really enjoyed being able to kind of use those 3 different threads to piece together what was happening in different parts of the game. So I really enjoyed the way that the story was delivered in this like non-linear fashion. That's not to say the game itself isn't linear, because the game as a whole is pretty straightforward. It's a linear game with a non-linear story, if that makes sense. Another thing that I want to talk about here is the exploration. When I was playing the game, it really did feel like every little area that I went into that I wasn't required to go into felt like I was getting little pieces of information to tell me about who lived there or what happened there, that felt like I was being constantly rewarded for kind of going off the beaten path. And then related to that, there were lots of environmental puzzles that would that you could find a document that would give you like, that would tell you that, oh, the key to unlock this door is this. And it would give you like and then you would go look at whatever that was to find a 4-digit code to get through a door. And I find that kind of stuff really interesting as well. I know that this isn't the first game to do it, but I'll always appreciate those things that make you kind of interact with the game on like a deeper level. And the final thing that I want to bring up for positives is that there is no combat in this game. It's all about the story, the exploration, and really just the vibes. And I don't think it would have been bad if they had included any kind of combat or anything, but personally, I played the game sandwiched between Kingdom Come Deliverance and Assassin's Creed Shadows, so I really appreciated that I could just kind of move through the game at my own pace. Up next is the mixed section of the review. These are things that aren't necessarily bad, but I don't want to include them in the positive section. The first one, I think, is that this game takes basically 2 full playthroughs to be able to get the platinum. And while there is like chapter select and you could do it all on one playthrough if you go through it with a guide, I think that playing this game with a guide and constantly like breaking yourself out of the experience would probably ruin an otherwise very captivating game. And the reason this ends up in the mixed section and not down in the negative section is that I would hope that most people go into this game not trying to play it all, or not trying to do everything in one playthrough. And the fact that you can do your second playthrough in just a few hours helps keep it out of the negative category as well. The next thing in the mixed section for me is trophy related, and that's that some of the hidden story trophies didn't pop at the right time. It seems like it's something wrong in the actual game itself and not that the trophies just kind of pop whenever. Because when I was looking around online, it did say, hey, this trophy that's for this thing won't actually pop until you do this. And so it seems like the same trophies are going to pop in the same spot every single time. The main thing keeping this out of the negative section for me is that issue is well documented online, and that if you look up any kind of like trophy guide or anything like that for the game, it has those things clearly written on there. So I don't really think it's that big of a deal. And then a couple more mixed ones for me. A couple quick ones here. There's a section in the game where you get injured and then you move really slowly for like a really long time. And I just found that to be generally pretty annoying. And then the last one for the mixed section is that there's a section of the game where it's kind of like a stealth section where you have to sneak through this area without setting off these sensors. And I know that they probably added that in there just to kind of add some variety to the gameplay, to just kind of change stuff up a little bit. But as somebody who was really just there for the story and the vibes, I found it to be a little bit annoying, and I especially found that part annoying my second time going through the game. Unfortunately, that does bring us to the negative section of the review, and I really only have one thing to say here, and it's once again related to the trophies. A lot of the trophy descriptions on what you're supposed to do are pretty vague, to the point that I don't see how anybody figures out what to do for some of these without consulting a guide. So I think what I would have liked instead is for them to at least tell you like which chapter something takes place in, if it's something that there's only one specific spot in the game that you can do it. Maybe utilize the hints feature on the PS5 to be able to directly look up on the console what you're supposed to do for certain trophies. And I also don't think that it would be bad if the trophies are vague, if there's like a whole umbrella of different triggers that could cause you to get the trophy. But there was one where you have to carry around this dead energy cell for like a really long time just so that you could get it from one spot of the map to another spot of the map. And if I remember correctly, the description really doesn't give you any hints on figuring that out. That being said, these negatives that I have with it really aren't that big. I would highly recommend checking out this game. Right now, you can check it out pretty much for free on PS Plus Extra. I think it also goes on sale pretty often on PlayStation and on Xbox as well. And guys, that's all that I have for today. In the comment section, please let me know what you think of Deliver Us the Moon. Until next time, the best way to keep up with me is on Twitter and on Instagram at James_Solar, and on Blue Sky at jamessolar.bsky.social. Thanks, guys.